Okay, so corresponding angles are equal. What's also equal is alternate interior angles. So here in our example here, alternate interior angles are also equal. So if you're told that this is 60 degrees, and you're told that these lines are parallel, then this alternate interior angle is also 60 degrees. Okay, and then alternate exterior angles are congruent. These are alternate exterior angles, alternate sides of the transversal on the exterior of the parallel lines. So if you're told that these lines are parallel and this is 120 degrees, then your alternate exterior angle would also be 120 degrees like that. The converse of this also works. So for example, if these are 120 degrees, if the alternate exterior angles are equal, then your lines are parallel, and you can prove lines parallel with it as well. Then consecutive interior angles are supplementary. So consecutive interior angles, they aren't equal. And you can even see this in the visual, like one's an acute angle and one's an obtuse. They aren't equal. They add to 180 degrees. So for example, if this is 60 degrees and this is 120, they add to 180 degrees. You may have noticed I also didn't use an arc for these angles because the arcs generally mean that they are equal, whereas just a dot and just identifying those angles, consecutive interior angles. Okay, and then down here in the chart, these are the angles that are congruent, corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior, and vertical angles. And then the angles that are supplementary are consecutive interior angles and linear pair. So a linear pair are two angles that are right next to each other. That form a straight line, and those angles add to 180. Okay, then over here, we are going to go over some practice here in terms of like just identifying angles. It says which is a pair of alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles, alternate sides of the transversal on the interior of the parallel lines, and that's what I'm looking for in terms of this picture. So 3 and 6, the first answer choice. It just so happens 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles, so that is the correct answer there. 3 and 6 are alternate interior. If you go through the other answer choices, 6 and 5, that's a linear pair. 2 and 7 are alternate exterior, which isn't what we're looking for. And then 4 and 6 are consecutive interior, again, not what we're looking for. And number 2, which angle corresponds to 7? Okay, well, let's see. So 7 right here. The corresponding angle to that would be angle 3. 3 and 7 are corresponding angles. So the answer is 3. Okay, number 3, which angles are alternate exterior angles? Alternate exterior, alternate sides of the parallel lines on the exterior, alternate sides of the transversal on the exterior of the parallel lines. So here 1 and 5 are corresponding, so no, not what we're looking for. 6 and 3 are alternate interior, not what we're looking for. 5 and 8 are vertical, not what we're looking for. And then 1 and 8 are alternate exterior, alternate sides of the transversal on the exterior of the parallel line, so that is our answer there. And then which pair of angles are consecutive interior angles? Consecutive interior angles are on the same side, on the interior of the parallel lines. So that's what I'm looking for here. So 1 and 5 are corresponding, not what we're looking for. 3 and 6 are alternate interior, not what we're looking for. 4 and 8 are corresponding. And then 3 and 5, these are consecutive interior angles. So that's the answer there. Okay, the next one talks about angle measure. It says measure of angle 1 is 32 degrees, and then it asks for the other angle measures. So let me show you how the parallel lines with transversals work. So we have parallel lines here and a transversal. So draw this at the top of your paper. So with this, all of the angles are one of two numbers. So let's say that this is 60 degrees If I'm told just one of these angles is 60 degrees and I'm told that these lines are parallel, I can figure out all the other angles using these rules. So let me show you how it works. Okay, so if this is 60 degrees, vertical angles are equal, so that means I can say that this is 60 degrees. These two angles here form a linear pair, or these two form a linear pair, so that means these are supplementary, so 180 minus 60 is 120 degrees, so that means this is 120 degrees. Vertical angles are equal, so if this is 120, this is 120. And then there's, like I said, there's different ways I can look at this. Alternate interior angles are equal, so if this is 60, this is 60 degrees. Alternate interior angles, if this is 120, this is 120. Also, like consecutive interior angles are equal to 180, so these two have to add to 180, which they do. Vertical angles are equal, this is 60. Vertical angles 120, or like corresponding angles are equal 120. There's different ways that you could figure this out, but here we are. So with the parallel lines and transversal, all the angles are going to be one of two numbers. So, and if you look at it visually, all the acute angles are 60 degrees and all the obtuse are 120. Sometimes you can't tell which one's acute and obtuse because it's like so close, but yeah, all the angles are one of two numbers. So looking at number 5, it says measure of angle 1 is 32 degrees. And then it asks about the other angles. So before I look at the other angles, I can just fill in all the other angle measures. If this is 32, this is supplementary to it because it forms a linear pair. So 180 minus 32 is 148 degrees. So angle 2 is 148. And then from there, I can name like the degree measure of all the angles. So if this is 148, this is 148. This is 32, this is 32. This is 32, 148, 148, and 32. Okay. Then here, measure of angle 1 is 32. Find the measure of angle 3. Measure of angle 3 is 148 degrees. Measure of angle 6 is 148 as well. And then measure of angle 8 is 32 degrees. Okay, then down here it says for the following diagram, state the type of angle that are given, state the relationship, and then find x. So here we have alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are congruent, so we can set those equal to solve for x when we get there. Number 2, those are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are congruent, so we can set those equal. Number 3, those are same side interior, so consecutive interior angles, consecutive interior angles, and they are supplementary, so they equal 180. And then for number 4, they're alternate exterior angles, alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles are congruent, so we can set those equal to solve. Okay, so now that we've identified them in the relationship, then we can set up the equations. So since alternate interior angles are congruent, we can set these equal to solve for x. So 80 equals 2x. Then to solve, just divide by 2 on both sides, and x equals 40. Okay, number 2, these are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are equal, so we can set those equal to each other to solve for x. Then divide by 3, x equals 40. Number 3, this one's a little bit different. These angles aren't equal. We can even see that visually, like this is an acute angle and this is obtuse. So they aren't equal, but they are supplementary. So this plus this equals 180, and that's how we'll set up the equation. So 2x plus 110 equals 180, and we can use that to solve for x. So we subtract 110 from both sides. 2x equals 70. Then divide by 2, and x equals 35. So there's two formats that you can see. You can either see that they are equal, or you can see that this plus this equals 180 for these problems. And then alternate exterior, they are equal, so we can do 2x minus 4 equals 92. Add 4, 2x equals 96. X equals 48. Okay, then the next set of problems, it takes it up a notch, and now it gives you two variables. So for example, in number 5, we have an x that we need to solve for and a y. We can't solve for x and y at the same time, so here we have vertical angles, but we can't just set those equal because we can't solve for x and y at the same time. We can only solve for one at a time. So you have to look at what we can solve for first, and then use that to figure out the second one. So for number 5, I noticed that we have consecutive interior angles right here. So these two add to 180, and I can set that up. So I can do 75 plus 5x minus 10 equals 180, and I can solve for x that way. And then once I have x, I can plug it in to help me solve for y. Okay, so combining like terms, 75 minus 10 is 65 plus 5x equals 180. Subtract 65 from both sides. 5x equals 115. Divide by 5. X equals 23. Okay, so we got x. Half of it, right? There's also some really good practice with this on Alex as well, and it'll be on the test too, where you have to solve for two separate variables. Okay, so we got that, we got x, and now we need to find y. These two are equal, so we can do 10y minus 25 equals 5x minus 10, but now we know that x is 23, so 5 times 23 minus 10. And then we can continue solving. 10y minus 25 equals 5 times 23 is 115. And then y equals 13. Okay, we'll do another example here. So number 6, just looking at what we have and what we can solve for at first. Like these two are equal to each other, but we can't set them equal yet because we can't solve for x and y at the same time. But I also noticed that alternate interior angles are equal, so I can set these two equal to solve for x. So that's what I'm going to do. 60 equals 3x plus 15. Then solving here, 60 minus 15 would be 45 equals 3x. Divide by 3, and x equals 15. Okay, and corresponding angles are equal, so these are equal to each other, and now that I know x, I can plug that in. So I can do 3 times 15 plus 15 equals negative 5y minus 10. 45 plus 15. Then add 10 to both sides. Y equals negative 14. Notice how we got a negative for y. If we got a negative for the degree measure, that wouldn't make sense. However, as a negative for y, when we plug it in, we should get a positive for the degree measure, so that's okay. Let's do this. Okay, let's do one more, because I just noticed students getting stuck on this on the homework. This was like where they had trouble. So we'll do one more together and then we'll call it quits. Okay, so the next one, number 7, we have this angle here and then this one. These don't have like a formal relationship in terms of like a named relationship, but we can still figure it out. So like this is an acute angle, this is obtuse. We could also say, okay, this is 102, then this angle is 78, because these have to be supplementary, and then corresponding angles are equal. So this equals this angle. Let's see. Or these are supplementary, so we could just do 102 plus 2x plus 12 equals 180 and solve it that way. This depends on your preference. For a lot of these, there's more than one way to figure it out. So let's see, 2x plus 102 plus 12 would be 114 equals 180. Subtract 114 from both sides. Equals 66. Divide by 2, and we get x equals 33. Yes. You could. Yes. If that's easier for you. Okay. So you have the rest of class to get your homework done. Please ask questions as you need on the homework, so that way you can get it done. And then just grab a laptop and get logged on. You finish the homework then. Work on Alex.